Hello, and welcome to Homer for November 23rd, 2024. Hoi dara deip non helon tokare como on te sakaioi, hrim fakata klisias apodal tu thore sonto. Tro estau thetero thenanap tolin ho plis donto, pauro teroi memasan decai hossus mini makestai. Creioi anag kai protepainon kai progunai kon, pas do nun topulai ek desutolaos, pes doi thipes tepolus, dorumag dosorore. Hoi do te deres koron henax union tosikonto, sun rebalon ri nus sun denke akai meneandron, calce othore con lataras pidesam foloes ai eplen talele si polus orumag dosorore, entharamoi moge tecai euco le pelenandron, o lunton tecai o lunton tecai o lumenon, o lunton tecai o lumenon re dai matigaia. Yeah, okay, great. Sorry, just want to become like a little bit of a perfectionist with the meter. I mean, I guess you could just do it halfway, but we want perfection here in the Daily Homer readings. Anyway, so the Athenians gathered, the shining-haired, not Athenians, Achaeans gathered, and they had they took a quick dinner at their ships, or at their camps rather. And then after this, apodal tu, that's a genitive of time or whatever, they thoraxed, they put their armor on their thoraxes, they thore sonto. And then the Trojans then also, in the same way, or, at once, in the same way, for their own part, they were gathering up in their city, and they were paurotoroi, they were slightly smaller in number, but they also desired, interesting verb here, they were desiring, nonetheless, dekai hos hus mini makestai, in battle to fight, just the same, dekai hos, being necessary and necessity, right? So by force, they have to fight, and on behalf of their children and behalf of their wives, and all of them, they went through the gates. Is that right? All the gates opened, right? And they went out. The company went out, and by foot or by horse. As footers or as horsers, and there was a big den struck up. Aurore from, I think it's like Ornumi. Yeah, Ornumi. Great. And then, right, so when it was the time when they, at the same time, Raes Choron, in the countryside, in one spot, they came, together. They then started pitching everything, their hides, right? They started pitching their, their armors at each other. They threw each other at themselves. Both the armies are fighting. They did their spears, and they did, the might of men that are bonded of bronze around their thorax. These armored men, these mailed men, as some translation has, and also with shields that are decorated around the omphalos. The omphalos is the navel, right? Yeah. So these well decorated shields. They had these well decorated shields, clashing amongst one another. They're filled. They're filled in the middle. And once again, there was a great din that was struck up. We see this here and here. Anyway, okay, yeah. And then there was a great cry of, I don't know, wailing and lamentation. Okay, so oi moi, yeah, right, from like oi moi. So there was at once lamentation and also praise, right? That followed men who were killed, men who killed and destroyed, and also those who were killed and destroyed, both of them. as blood flowed on the earth. Okay, excellent. Now, why is this a good passage? Well, obviously, I think all of them are good, but I like this one in particular because we have some descriptive traits of the Achaeans and the Trojans, right? So the Achaeans, they take a quick breakfast and then they're on the run. The Trojans, on the other hand, are, they're less in number and they're up in their city. And, the stakes here, it's always just not looking good for them. It's like, oh, we have less people and, we are required to fight, right? They wouldn't fight if it weren't for, their children and their women. But whatever. But they have a huge den that follows them on the way out. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's because, they were being sent off. Whatever, excuse me, but it's whatever. Okay, so there's a big den on their way out, right? So there's a den, and then there's this tension of like purpose, right? That is identified with the Trojans, whereas the Achaeans, it's only 2 lines. It's like we got up, we ate breakfast, our hair is shiny, and we're using part of these 2 lines to talk about how shiny our hair is. So that's all the identity that you need, and we're gonna go and we're gonna put our armor on after we have a quick. After we have a swift, breakfast. And then this is nice because it's just a really beautiful, compact passage of like what it means to show up and go into battle, right? This is fun, as far as like Iliad reading goes. Like there's obviously so much that's going on here, but like what's important is they meet in the same place at the same time. They throw their shields at each other, they throw their spears, they throw their force, right? So it's like offense, defense, and the constitution of the whole. You know what I mean? So well made and tripartite. And then there's also the art that's attached to it, which is these shields that are, filled, in the middle with like these decorations or whatever. And once again, there is a great den, right? There's a great den. I mentioned that twice already. But anyway, and of course, like the war, it's not even over yet. The battle isn't even over yet. It's hardly started, and yet at the same time, we're already thinking of the consequences, which is sadness for those that are destroyed, and then praise, I assume this is good. You know what I mean? Shout of triumph for those. Right is oi. It's for those who destroyed. And maybe this cross references too, right? So maybe you can get a lament if you destroy, and maybe you can get a shout of praise if you are destroyed, right? Like sorry, I was doing my cursor wrong, but anyway. And then at the end of the day, of course, blood is flowing on the earth. What an epic phrase. Anyway, thank you so much for listening and have a wonderful day.